Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Nicked Up Playoff Edition. Playoff Edition now. Yes, we are about to head into the season that matters. I like to say. I guess the whole thing matters, but this is really the season that we are at least matters to us, at least the old guys here, because we've seen a lot of playoff. We've seen regular season victories. We've seen playoff victories. But in order to get to the finals, we need to go through the playoffs. So we're back. We're going to break everything down for you, give you our opinion on what we think is going to happen. Obviously, I do not do this alone, so let me bring in both Ty and Joe. Hello, brothers. How are you?
Hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello, hello.
Yes, it is playoff time. Every year, I feel like this time comes faster and faster.
Because we're getting old.
I know. That's exactly what it is. Time just goes faster for us. You know. So yeah, it was an interesting season. Um, we'll get into it. We can get into the regular season breakdown, what happened during this year, things we liked, things we didn't like. We can talk about that. Talk about the coach, um, changing of the coach. Obviously,
Yeah.
this was our first year with Mike Brown as the head coach, so we can get into all of that as time goes on. But we are in the playoffs, so let's start there. Let's start with where we are. The seed is planted. The Knicks are third, and the Hawks are six. We're playing the Atlanta Hawks, who are sixth. I have to say, when we discussed this tie last week, I did not think we'd be playing the Hawks. Uh, this was an interesting way that everything ended and unfolded. I'm happy it is the Hawks. I'm happy it's not a team like Charlotte. If I had to choose between those two, Charlotte just scares me so much. Um, So I'm feel better that it is Atlanta that the Knicks are facing in the first round. Joe, you were not here last week, so who did you think, or did you have a preference going into this? And now, are you happy the Knicks are facing Atlanta, or would you have preferred another team?
I thought it was going to be the Raptors, honestly, but I feel like Atlanta is actually a tougher matchup, personally, than the Raptors. But again, there could have been worse draws. I agree with you, Eric. I think Charlotte would have been a bad draw. I think that would have been a really, really tough draw. I mean, they still have to win another game to get to the playoffs, period, but they're kind of a scary team.
Yeah, they're young, and like I say all the time, they're kind of good at the things. They have a lot of things the Knicks don't in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. So it just wasn't the best matchup in my opinion for
No.
what the Knicks are trying to accomplish. So we'll see what happens going forward. But we did draw the Hawks this time, though. There is no Trey Young. The last time we faced Atlanta in the playoffs, we had Trey Young. So from that perspective, let's look at it from that perspective. Without maybe that one guy you look at and say, okay, you need to stop him, or he's the engine. He's the guy that makes things go. Who on this team, who on this Hawks team, that either scares you, or do you think that you need to focus on? Ty, I'll start with you.
It's Alexander. That's the only guy you need to worry about. Johnson's a phenomenal talent. We all know it. We've seen him rise to where he is now. I just think when you look at the Hawks, and that's why I'm Dr. Falcon today. I had to come in there. Anybody know the mention? Gotta go back to what was it? Everybody's going crazy. Everybody's DEFCON 4. About to get launched. Everybody's gonna die. That's what we heard. This is all over. Coolest dude in the room. It was Dr. Stephen Falcon. He comes in there and he goes, "Hello, Joshua." I'm doing that now. I'm doing a little. We've heard the Hawks going to take us to 7 games. And granted, we're talking about the NBA playoffs. All these things are possible. We all know teams can beat other teams. It is what it is. But when I look at the totality, you would think the Knicks didn't win that last game the way people are talking. It was a close game. It was a miraculous game. You know, it had all the fun and bells and whistles you want to see in an NBA game. Extremely entertaining. Knicks did win, right? That's all I want to ask people. Did the Knicks win? Yeah, they won. Yeah, did they make you have probably a streak inside of your underwear, Dr. Falcon? Yes, it is. I definitely can determine that there was probably some tight cheeks, and maybe there was some accidents that happened when C.J. McCollum launched that ball. But either way, it would have just been tied. He wouldn't have won the game either way, and we would just go into overtime. When it comes to the Knicks, and we do have the hyperbole of Trae Young, he was the villain. He loved and embraced. Probably his best basketball is always played against the Knicks. In the Garden, he gets up to that. It's almost the Reggie Miller effect. And I brought it up to Eric. I think it was our last pod. Reggie did have a losing streak. It wasn't like he dominated the Garden, but the mystique of the whole thing made him to be this incredible villain. Meanwhile, Trae Young did get traded. For a superstar, they usually don't get traded like he got traded, and they wanted him off of Atlanta. So what do we got now? We have a bunch of guys that are rogue players on Atlanta. We've got some budding talent, obviously. You have Kuminga. He's a midseason or late season trade or whatever you want to call it.
Nice pickup.
Nice pickup, great talent. Still hasn't honed it in, but we know that the potential's there. Johnson, we saw him come along, and he's made a name for himself in the NBA. Was he an all-star? I think he might have been an all-star. So we're asking, who is the star of this team now? And I'm going to believe, although he had the miraculous shot, and I'm a fan of this guy, C.J. McCollum has always been a baller. He's been a very good player for a very good long time. While being paired with Damian Lillard in Portland, Eric knows I'm an old school dude, so I do kind of like his old school YMCA game. It is what it is. Am I hitting the button? I'm supposed to be panicked because that's the guy? And granted, they go back to Dyson Daniels. What do they say? The Brunson stopper, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't stop guys that hit 35 points on you. What did you stop? What did you stop? Because we always hear this coming in, and that's the thing about the Knicks. And this is the war games of the media. That's why I'm using Dr. Falcon also. It's the war games of the media to conjure up these scenarios that, this defeatist thing that the Knicks are in trouble. All teams are in trouble. If you really want to say it, this is 0-0. There's easy for any team, including OKC, to get an upset. It's out the window. Whatever was done in the regular season, yes, you can kick it to the curb. But to panic this early, and we haven't even played a game yet, and we're hearing that Atlanta is the dominant team here. I'm like, wait a minute. The Knicks did win. I think they won the game prior to that also. They have beat Atlanta. They have not they haven't destroyed them. I mean, a team like Charlotte, yeah. Team like Detroit, yeah. First rounders, we might want to be concerned, but Atlanta has to develop a villain before we can figure out that we got, that we have Kingpin that we're dealing with. Right now, this Daredevil episode 1, there's no villain right now. We have nobody to say anything, and Atlanta hasn't proven anything as this group. Trae Young has a resume of being a villain in a lot of scenarios. So maybe if this was Trae Young coming in with this team and these guys are motivated and he has the talent like Kuminga around him, then I'm like, well, the Knicks got – not that this won't be a tough series, but the concern level would be a little bit different. Like, oh, let's get a little bit, twitchy because Trae has won in big games in the Garden. He's stopped them from going to the Cup the prior year. But, I'm tired of us running as Knicks fans. Like, oh, what are we going to play? Play? You want a title? You got to whoop everybody's ass. That's just what it is. You want a ring? You whoop everybody's ass. It's like, we're going to run from the smoke? I mean, what happened? Is it true when Snoop crushed the buildings in that video? Did New York really get soft, as they said? I don't know about Jay-Z, but did it happen? Did New York get soft to the point they're like, oh, we don't want them? I'm more than sure if you ask Jalen Brunson, I guarantee you, he's going to want whoever is the gigantic person to slay. He is that type of person. He's a killer. Killers don't worry about who's in front of them. They're trying to kill. I don't think there's a Nick. You think Mitch Robinson's scared of what Atlanta's going to bring? No. I think it's fan nervousness because we are not used to success. We talk about it all the time. We're just not in a position where we're used to winning. So all of these people pop up. Excuse me. And even if it was Charlotte, yeah. If the Knicks want to get a title, I think we lost Joe. If the Knicks want to actually get a title, they have to go through all of these people. So first round, second round, third round, I mean, didn't we hear the same narrative last season? Oh, we're not beating Detroit. Oh, we're not beating Boston. What happened with the East was when they got to Atlanta, they had a coach that couldn't move, he did no adjustments. And in all honesty, I think they got put back on their heels, because when you listen to Jalen Brunson speak about, they talked about the nightmarish things you can take back on their podcast. And he shook his head and he's like, Halliburton shot. I think that killed him as soon as that shot went in, because I know I stopped watching after that because I'm like, they're done. They're cooked. You can see the look on their face. They're cooked because they couldn't believe they lost that way. But we've heard this scenario before. Let's let the games play out. At least get 3 games on your belt before the panic button starts saying, oh, we can't beat this team. The Garden's going to be rocking. You got a superstar in Jalen Brunson who becomes a megastar in the postseason. And you got seemingly a motivated Karl-Anthony Towns. And as I told Eric last week, we are the only team, in my opinion, that has 2 of those. We have 2 nuclear weapons on the New York Knicks. And we need to start poking our chest out like we got that. They got who? When I say, the first thing I said was Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, 2 all-stars. What does Atlanta have? What have they proven? What has anybody proven?
That's probably more of the question. What have they proven, right? Like the guys that they have now, they're talented players, as you said. They're young players. Alexander Walker has made long runs with the Timberwolves, and of course, we brought up CJ McCollum, who's just a veteran, going to be, he's definitely going to give that presence. But that's really the point. Like the star in the team right now is Jalen Johnson. He's the star of the team. And he hasn't really done anything in the playoffs yet. He doesn't know what it's like. He doesn't know what to expect. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays.
Yeah.
But they're a good collection of talent. Like I like their team. They're definitely a good collection of talent. I think their future is bright for them, but I think they might be a year too early. I think this is a year before they're going to start making a little bit more noise. So Joe, what do you think about it?
Is still good too, which means they can add.
Yeah.
Ever since they kicked Landry Fields out of the front office, they've made some really, really smart decisions.
Atlanta's very smart. So it's all good. but I'm the point of Jimmy Avia last night and I know we're probably going to talk a little bit about the playoff. He had a great quote, which I thought was excellent when they talked about the Spurs last night, and he said, "They're as young as we are."
Yeah.
Meaning they haven't done anything. Why should we think we can't do? That's the mentality of the postseason. When you are new, and that experience. Detroit got shocked last year. I mean, granted, they played the Knicks close. Obviously, we know about that. But were they playing the Knicks close, or did the Knicks not have an offense to really? What we did, Tom? What were we running? What were we running the whole time playing?
I think this
postseason,
I think there's so much emphasis that's playing on what happened to the season. Playoff basketball is completely different. I think we're going to see a different offense from this Knicks team. I think we're going to see different focus. We're starting to see that 2-man game that we've wanted forever. I think, and Brown alluded to this earlier in the season. He said, we're not showing the whole bag right now. There are things and wrinkles that we have in the offense that we will pull out when it's appropriate. You're kind of starting to see that. I don't buy what happened during the season. And personally, I agree with you, Ty. This is not a team to panic over. They are a solid team. They have a good foundation. They have a lot of good perimeter defenders. They're a young, talented team. A lot of promise, like Eric said. This is not a team that scares me. Not in a 7-game playoff series against the Knicks with home court advantage. I don't know if you guys know this. Eric knows I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, and I'm familiar with the Atlanta fan base. They're terrible. They do not support their teams. There will be no home court advantage. There will be more Knicks fans in that building. It's embarrassing how bad Atlanta fans are to their teams.
Yeah.
Just saying. The Braves, they love the Braves, and then college football. That's Atlanta.
The Bulldogs, Georgia Bulldogs. Passionate about that.
Yeah, that's about it. But like I said, I agree. I agree with everything you guys say. I do think that this is a year early for them. Like I do, they won the division. I mean, kudos to them. They won the Southeast.
Definitely got potential.
Yeah.
Yep. They have they have, like I said, they have a good mix of talent. They have McCollum there as kind of the veteran. If Porzingis is ever healthy, who knows what he can give them.
He's
Um,
in
He
Golden State now.
on Golden State.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
That was the key.
That was a very snuck under the radar trade.
Yep, that was the. Yep, I forgot about that. Okay, so forget him. But no, they have, like I said, they have Risa Shea, who was the number one pick last year, coming along. He didn't have to be forced to, grow up faster than he's ready. So they have talent, and they will be a force to be reckoned with, I think, for years to come.
Mhm.
But yeah, I agree with you guys. They don't scare me. I was much more worried about the Hornets. Um,
Mhm.
I had to rank the my fear factor of the teams. The Hornets were first. I probably have the Hawks second. I was not worried about the Raptors at all, even though
No.
on talent
They're not getting-
they are a very good team. But the Knicks just seem to have their number. I don't know what it is, but the Knicks just seem to have this version of the Raptors number. So we will see what happens. But let's kind of get into now the breakdown of the keys to victory. So what do you think the Knicks have to do? What do you think their style of play needs to be, or what they need to do in this series to come out victorious? Either
Okay.
one of you. Go.
So offensive rebounding, obviously, take advantage of the size factor, integrate Mitch more into second or third quarter kind of thing.
Mhm.
But it's going to be the two-man game, pick and roll in the clutch. They don't have an answer for it. Nobody has an answer for that. When we need to get points in the clutch, we will be able to get them. And I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate that on the other end. I think that's going to be the difference in the series.
All right.
Just
What are
really
your
nice nutshell kind of thing. That's what I think needs to happen.
Yeah, I think you just. Yeah, I mean, I can't really add much on to that other than the fact that I would start off saying the first five things I would say as far as with the Knicks is Karl Anthony Towns, and we can do it three more times.
Yeah.
This will come down to that matchup and him exploiting their front court, because they are going to hunt Jalen Brunson to take him out of his game. So we need passing Jalen Brunson. We just need the point guard version of Jalen Brunson in this series. If you bring that aspect to it, where he becomes more of the secondary scorer, the Knicks win in this series. I don't even think that it's even. I mean, not saying it can't be a tough series. Yeah, it's like 6 games if Jalen Brunson defers, because the minute he defers, that opens up his game, and then they don't want no parts of that. If you got to now say I got to choose between Karl Anthony Towns and the guy who's raises his bar in the playoffs, then you're cooked. That's for any team the Knicks face. And let's just throw it right out there. Any team the Knicks face moving forward in this playoffs, it's the Knicks series to lose, in my opinion, because they have everything needed to win a title. So the only thing the question mark is their mentality going into every game in every series, and whether or not you know that you have two guys that are completely unstoppable unless they get confused in what they're doing and they over try. So if you don't overcompensate and you just run your plays and you're the New York Knicks, all the series can go 6 games, each one moving forward. It's just about utilizing Karl Anthony Towns. He is the key. It's no longer about Jalen Brunson. Just throw that completely out. Don't worry about what Jalen Brunson needs to do. Jalen Brunson needs to pass the ball to Karl Anthony Towns to get him activated. And it changes everything after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest key is that, like, Brunson definitely needs to, like I said, establish Towns, get him going, and then in the fourth quarter of close games, do what he does and take over and score the clutch baskets that we've known, that we've gotten used to him doing. There's another key for me to this series, and it's Deuce McBride, and in the playoffs overall.
Yeah.
Like, I think if he's back to what he was before he got hurt, before he had the surgery, the Knicks are awfully tough to defend because you can't leave him. So, in my opinion, at the end of games, like if I was putting together a roster, and this is might be sacrilegious to some, but I probably would not have Josh Hart in the game. End of close games, just because he's he's been hitting the three, so maybe, but because he's really not a threat, you can take Brunson off the ball if you have McBride there and have a bunch of things you can do. You can get creative.
Mhm.
But Harden there, the defense kind of is going to live with that. They're going to be, we're going to take him away. Make him hit the shots. So I feel like McBride unlocks all of that. I feel like he unlocks that entire setup that when they're at their best. So I feel like he's probably outside of what you guys have said. I think he's probably my next key to victory. We need Deuce McBride to be at his best. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
That wasn't really on my radar, but I could see the merits of what you're saying, definitely.
Mhm. Yeah, I concur. I don't. Well, in the playoffs, it comes down to hitting shots. I mean, I don't care which way when you look at the NBA,
Right. Yeah.
but you have to have one more point than the other opponent. That's all you need in order to win anything. I mean, it's simply played. As much as we hark on defense, you still have to outscore your opponent. And my thing is this: when things break down, because it's going to happen in the playoffs,
Sure.
things are going to break down, and that ball is going to get funneled to someone. It's either John Paxson. We're talking Jordan here, so I want to say with the elite.
Yeah.
Jordan passed to Paxson. Jordan passed to Steve Kerr. Robert Horry got a whole career for someone passing to him. Those guys, those unexpected knockdown shooters, the Mario Ellies of the world.
Mario Ellie, good one.
Dudes that just hit the shot and they kill you because they're not on the radar, because they are a product of the offense maybe stalling or having to come off of it and give up the heat to someone else. You're playing a little hot potato in the playoffs. And when that ball zips around, you need someone lock and loaded. For me, that's not Bridges. That's not Anunoby. It's a guy like Deuce McBride or a guy like Shamet. Those are the types of guys that make you pay for doubling. You always need that in the playoffs. I don't care who you are. You need guys that are going to make you pay. Eric, that's a great point you brought up because Deuce McBride is so vital to spreading the floor, and how those catch and shoots are going to be money for the Knicks. Because if that dude is giving you 5 to 6 3-pointers, or a guy like Shaman's giving you 5 to 6 3-pointers in a playoff series or in games, just cut it.
Yeah.
Cut the story.
Yeah. Right. Like these are the guys that unlock everything else, right? Like they kind of balance out the defense because you can't shift, right? Like we all know that Daniels is going to be guarding Brunson, right? Like that off the top, we know that that's going to be his assignment. So what do you do then? When he gets taken away, and then you shift to Towns. Now, what if the defense shifts there, and then you need to balance the floor offensively so that everyone is a threat still, and that nobody is getting paid too much attention. And that's what he brings. And you're right to bring up Shamet. That would probably be my next guy. I mean, I just don't trust Bridges. Sorry.
I'm surprised.
You're surprised?
It ain't got on your bingo card today.
I mean, I
did get hit by a manhole cover, so my memory before I came in here, so my memory is about 4 seconds long.
I trust OG. I do trust OG a little more, but
well, I feel like I brought that up last week. I don't know if I can do the same face as that. Whatever the face was, OG, I'm trying to mimic it, but I don't know. Deuce McBride and Shamet are two dogs. Yeah. And not saying, and I don't ever want people to get it twisted. Like when I talk about some of these players, like I don't like them. Like Bridges, I like Bridges being a defender, and a slasher. I don't like him being the guy out at 3-point line that I'm depending on. Same thing with OG. I like him slashing. I like him being able to hit the corner threes if it's there. But I want you out there defending the best players. That's what your job to me has always been when this team was constructed, not to make you an all-star scoring offensive savant. That's not what you're here for.
And he's been inconsistent at best with that this year.
Who you think was Bridges? Yeah. And you need dog. I can't even what Jerry West said. He wasn't a dog. He was a wolf. He used to eat dogs. I mean, that's literally, you need a sniper. You need a Ray Allen. You need those dudes that are like, I'm going to dare you to cheat and hedge. And I'm going to burn you. They send burn notices. Real killers send burn notices. And that's the same thing when you look at, I mean, Eric brought up a great point. Deuce McBride and Shamit, for me, those two dudes are so key because those other guys, they're not shooters. They're not shooters. They're players, but they're not shooters. You need, Derek Fisher. I mean,
that's another good one.
He shoots too, but it's like you look at that dude. His whole career is based on having those open opportunities on those Lakers squads. And yeah, that's a good point. I love that whole Deuce take, Eric. That was definitely a great point.
Agreed.
Yes, my very last one, and we talked about this last week. I'm just going to say it, Joe. You weren't here, but it's something we've said before. Defend the damn 3-point line, please. That's my last key. Please, defend the 3-point line.
That has been a truth with this team since the world was fighting with spears and swords. We're talking like the Bronze Age.
I know, you said it last week.
The Knicks haven't been able to cover the 3-point line.
So that's my third key, but that's just a key period for them because I'm waiting to see it. If Mike Brown could get them to do that, I will take away any bad thing I've ever said about him. That's it. I'll just remove it from the conversation.
You're not going to take everything back because he's not going to solve it. I don't know. It's like, and I think the worst thing as fans, if you're a real fan and watch the games a lot, and basketball somewhat, you see it coming, and you're like, damn, another corner three is about to happen because you see them like hedge off, and you see the guy do the yippee. That's the kind of way they try to do it. It's like, dude, your ass is burned. It's a bucket. It's a corner three. What the hell, man? This is the shortest three in the whole NBA. You can see to give that. And Eric knows my point last week was that it's always, if it's not the corner three, it's that wing three.
The elbow area, yeah.
It's in the same damn spot. And it's the Champagny spot. That's why I'm going to Champagny. Is that what it? That's his spot. I'm going to call that the Knicks Champagny, Achilles heel right there. That spot for the Knicks, they give up that damn three all the time. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen. And it's coming. The Knicks know it's coming. CJ McCollum hit the shot there. It's not even just one person. They all know to shoot that shot because the Knicks never recover.
It's true. They know which side to attack against the team. And I mean, that's part of it. Obviously, certain players just don't get out as fast as other guys. And so you're going to try and get the shot off on the side. That guy has to rotate to. But you're right. As soon as you see the breakdown of the defense, I'm like, oh, damn. I know it's coming. Like someone's going to be open. There's going to be a late closeout, and someone's going to be open.
Like you're bird watching like Mikal Bridges on that inbounds.
Yep.
And then they wonder why people think that they're getting paid off to not play basketball.
I know.
Because you're watching that play and it's like, who in the hell gave you that assignment? Absolutely no one from the bench said the double a ball that's not in yet. And knowing that the only threat really is a three-pointer. That ball would have went into the 2-point line. There would have been less time on the clock. So now someone has to manufacture and speed up and get a shot off, which now you're asking them to retreat back to either the three-point line or to try to actually do a quick layup. The defense was set for that play. Why are you doubling a guy who has not received the ball yet? And the only thing that you don't want to do is concede the three on a swing. Somebody needs to take account because somebody paid him to do that crap.
There's so many things I think are like there's really no debate about it. If you're down 3, foul. Like I'm always in that boat. If the team's down 3 and they have it foul, I don't care. Foul them. And don't double. Like the other one to me is don't double off the ball. I always feel like
makes some sense.
Just don't. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to do that. Don't double off the ball. All right. So this next one I'm going to bring up and I might start doing this as a weekly segment because I feel like we could do something in this like realm every week. So it's gonna be a little bit of a surprise. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but I'll give you the backstory, whatever. So I'm calling this commentator crap because I'm sick and tired of reading stuff like this from people who just like to say and spout off stuff. So this week in the commentator crap bowl is Colin Cowherd. This was something Colin Cowherd said. They were talking about, he was talking about Jalen Brunson, and he brought up and said, well, if you look at things, Jalen Brunson, is he really a superstar? He's probably more of a 2, maybe a 3. Not even a number 2, a 3. So, look, I know Knicks for clicks, right? The Knicks are a fire starter for the media, right? The New York is the biggest market, so if you want to get people to listen and piss them off, this is something to do. But I had to bring it up, and let me put it to you guys this way: if he's not a superstar, or if you don't believe he's a superstar because he's not a great defensive player, he's not like a top level all-star, then what is he? Like what is he?
So I want to hop in on Cowherd a little bit. I've been following him for years and listening to him for years. And at baseline, I find him to be very insightful, and he has some really, really great takes. But for somebody that's been listening to him for many years, he is also very ambitious. And this is a button-pushing maneuver, absolutely. Anyone who can say, I mean, I can understand he's not a true point guard. We've said he's not a true point guard. The true point guard is a dying breed in basketball because you have somebody running the lead guard position that isn't a true point guard. Is not uncommon, and it is not necessarily a flaw in your team if you construct your roster correctly, because there are very few of them out there.
Sure.
But to say he's a 2 or 3 is silly. Again, this is one of the things, if I was listening to Cowherd when he said this, I'd probably have coffee coming out of my nose because I think it's silly. I have a lot of respect for Colin Cowherd. I think he gives some of the best takes that I've heard as far as like out of the blue, change your mind kind of takes. But yeah, this is goofy.
Anything to add?
What's up?
I said, Ty, anything to add?
I had technically got underneath this shirt. Shirt that says "No Brunson slander." We don't do Brunson.
We know, yes.
Not when Ty's around. No Brunson slander. I don't want to hear anything about him not passing. I don't want to hear any of this crap about we don't know what he is. The world is he's a Lilliputian. Nobody got time. What that old saying goes, they said, "Don't argue with a fool in public because they can't tell who the fool is." I'm not arguing with Colin's goofy ass on this one because let me tell you one thing. When you look at a guy, name me someone in the last 4 years that has had better playoff success than Jalen Brunson. And not that there's not a list, but I'm going to tell you one thing. It's a small-ass list. And that's what's reserved for superstars in this league because we're going by the standard. Now, granted, for me, what a superstar used to be is not today. I would not declare a guy like Jalen Brunson to be a superstar based on what the criteria used to be for people who are over 50 or near 50 or whatever. We grew up in a different era of basketball when we said the word superstar. It was usually equated to a guy, in my opinion, who's worth 3 All-Stars. That's what a superstar to me was. They were the guys that made up so much difference on the floor for your things you lacked. Like a Michael Jordan was worth probably 4 players. That's what made him the elite of the elite. He's that top 1%. Then you have the Magic Johnsons of the world and Larry Birds of the world, who are guys who are probably 3 All-Stars because they make up for all the things that you kind of lack with your team, and they just bring you up and elevate the level of talent around you. So if Colin's going that route, then maybe I can jump on board with him. But I don't think that's the route he's going. I think he's going by today's modern standard. He's looking at a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's looking at a guy like Jokic. He's looking at a guy like, who else is one? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, whoever you want to say is the best on that team. We're talking about guys who've won titles. I guess that's the one. They've been the lead dog. After you go past Jokic, who I think is the cream of the crop, I still go by that. I don't think there's a player better than Jokic.
No, it's not.
His young numbers show it. I don't give a damn what no one else. I know Wembanyama is a great talent. I'm not trying to hear that crap. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, yeah, you're the reigning NBA champion and MVP. Still not trying to hear that crap. What Jokic does a lot of the things that I said about prior regimes or prior eras of basketball.
He's unique.
3 to 4 guys on the floor. That's a crazy elevation when you think about it with a guy like Jamal Murray, super talented but always hurt. You get a guy like Aaron Gordon, talented but never was that kind of talented guy. All right, now we got Jokic being in that upper 1%, in my opinion, in the whole entire league. So now we're going to other guys below that. So we'll go Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Terrific team. They won. He's the cream of the crop right now, maybe the best guard in the league, of this era. We're seeing that. All right, we'll go past. I'll take him. So now we're going into who after that? Luka Doncic? Yes. Want to say that? Went to the finals, choked it out. So he doesn't have a ring. He has all the points and the talent.
He's been to the finals, though.
Been to the finals.
When you factor that into that list, a lot of people that are going to come up haven't been. Exactly.
So we have those 3 guys. We're going to say, I always say most of the foreigners are like the top guys. So we got Giannis. He has some flaws in his game, but he's got a ring. He's been to the finals. We know the success of him. Now, tell me the list that's supposed to happen after that of guys that you say all of a sudden you're putting Ant-Man above Jalen because he's flashed.
No.
Really what you're saying. You're saying
if you're going by what was accomplished instead of like future potential, that list runs out there.
It goes out the window. So when a guy comes in, you don't know basketball.
Cunningham hasn't done it. Wemby hasn't done it.
And they hasn't
done it. None of
these guys ahead of Jalen Brunson, who while in Dallas, I always go back to the Dallas. I'm not even going to the Knicks the time he's been here. When Luka went down, find the one. What's the movie? Pulp Fiction. What he said, he pulled out that wallet that said "bad what?" We can't say it on here, but the wallet was glowing, and he said, "Pull out the wallet that said bad." Mm-hmm. He was a bad in that series against Utah, against everybody. They went to the Western Conference Finals.
That's the good Utah team. Yeah, very good Utah team.
He probably broke them up like New Edition. Maybe it was somebody went Bell the Road, other people went Bobby Brown. That's where it was over after that. So we look at that aspect of it. Now we're moving forward. Jalen Brunson was the dog on that team when Luka went down. So we're seeing a player emerge from there in the Western Conference, which was tougher back then than what he's going through in the East. Yeah. This dude was out here once again giving out burn notices. So we say, okay, that's a fluke. That was a fluke. He comes here to New York. They claim he's overpaid. The Knicks didn't pick up the right player. How dare they? He's not going to be whatever. Hey, he has exceeded all those things. And he has the New York Knicks, the most troubled franchise in the last 50 years. It's been a long time, Knicks fans. Have you ever been this comfortable saying you could win a title?
No.
So you have a superstar then. You must have a superstar to even talk about a title. When you're a contending team and someone says you're one of the best 5 teams in the league, because that's what we're hearing about the Knicks, best 5 teams in the league, you don't become the 5 best. And they had them winning almost last year. We almost won last year. The years before, the Knicks were dead before Jalen Brunson got here. Don't give me Julius Randle. I know he's cool, but don't give me that. We know the story started changing when Jalen Brunson got here, that we might be damn good for once. You can't be a top 5 team and not have a superstar on it. And Karl-Anthony Towns had a terrible year. So I'm asking you, who was leading the Knicks during this whole time if there was no superstar?
Did he have a terrible year, or was it really coaching? And
for his standards, he had a down.
I agree.
His numbers went down, but was he the root cause of that happening?
I'm
not convinced that he was.
I think it's the coaching, and I think Karl-Anthony Towns was pouting. When he stopped pouting. But when you look at the production, like Eric has pointed out a couple podcasts ago, he's ranked up there with the best people in the league in certain categories. So did he have a
victim of
terrible
context?
Yeah. But, I'm talking more about the narrative. This is about narrative.
Sure.
I think Townsend had a great season because the Knicks got a great record. So somebody had a great season. So as much as it's clunky, the Knicks are still one of the top 5 teams in the league. So I'm still going back to Colin. I wish you would come on here. What would constitute a superstar in this league? You have to have a top 5 team. If you're a top 5 team, you have a superstar somewhere on your team. And we're concluding this year that Karl-Anthony Towns was a broken player because that's all we heard. He was not good enough. Carl's not playing to Carl's standard. So did we say Jalen Brunson had to fall off? No. So who's the star on this team then? You have to have one because if it wasn't Carl this year, it wasn't OG Anunoby. We know it wasn't Bridges according to Eric. So we know that these people are the So who the hell was the star? Jalen Brunson. Sit your ass down.
They were both. I mean, he did make Towns made the All-Star team. So
Yes.
according to the league, yes, the Knicks had 2 All-Stars, right?
Mhm.
But like I said before, for his own lofty standards, outside of the rebounding, this was a down year for Towns.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way to put it.
Mhm.
Rebounding, he's great. Second in the league, right behind Jokic, I believe. So that's always been consistent. But everything else,
don't think you can lay that at his feet entirely.
no, I think, like I said, we talked about this a couple episodes ago, Ty. There was kind of a butting of the heads, right? That's how it started. Then there was frustration from Towns and from probably from his teammates because he was either slow to adapt or didn't fully buy in at certain points in the season or didn't really know what to do. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but there might have been some game plans where he was like, "What the hell am I here for?" Like you don't know what they're trying to do against certain teams. So there were times like he did look lost on offense, which for me, with him, is crazy, but he did. So I think the coaching and everything around it did impact his season. But still, when you think of all that in a down season, he still made the All-Star team. Like that's pretty good, But I agree with you. Like this, when I heard this take, I was like, all right, he's clearly trying to get people piss off New Yorkers and trying to get people to listen and call him and whatever. I get that part of it, but even if you're trying to do that, I could see, okay, maybe you don't think he's a 1, but a 3? The hell, bringing up a 3? This guy's like 7th in the league in scoring. Give me a break. Like, what are you talking about? So I had to bring it up because, like I have my issues with Stephen A. Smith, who I brought up many, many times on this show. And I've heard Colin say some things in other sports that I follow, like he's a big USC fan, and a lot of times he'll make comments about in college football about USC, and I'm like, dude, you're such a homer. Like, shut the hell up. Like, what's a wild take that he makes? But this one, I'm like, wow. Like again, I can understand. You want to say he's not a 1 on a perfect team. You want to say he's not a 1. Maybe I could buy that. Maybe, but he is definitely a 2 on every team. Yeah. And to even mention him being the 3rd best player on a team is ridiculous and ludicrous. And I had to bring it up. I had to see what you guys said because, man.
I thought he was talking about positional. I thought he was talking about 2 guards, 3 like a small forward. So you're talking like 2nd and 3rd option.
Yeah.
Oh, he's on drugs.
Yeah, he's on
drugs.
Yes, options on the team. Yes.
I thought he was talking positionally. I read that.
No. He was talking about his standing in the league, number 1, and then on the Knicks. Yeah.
What team has 2 better players than him? And the only one that you could possibly make an argument with is Boston. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can make that argument. You can say Tatum and Brown at their best are. Yes, you can make that argument. I wouldn't totally agree with it every day.
That argument.
But you can make that argument.
Who won last year? We're both of them on the floor.
I know.
That's why everybody's talking about Boston winning the entire thing. And it's like, didn't Boston get rid of like a third of their roster and their bench and like a lot of their impactful team? And they're going to run away with the East with their best player coming off of an Achilles? Like, what are people talking about?
Joe Mazzulla to me should win Coach of the Year because what they did with Tatum being out,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I did not expect
I
it.
mean,
So
to see they're going to run away with the East is short-sighted.
but yes, that's to me. You're asking a lot of Jason Tatum,
than they were last year, and last year they got housed in the second round.
and you're asking a lot. To your point, Joe, of a guy who's just coming off an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot to ask of them to do that. Yeah, I think that if I look at the East now, like I said, because of what happened this season, and because I just don't think it's a good matchup for the Knicks, the Pistons aren't a good matchup for the Knicks. They do scare me.
Yeah, they're concerning, but I'm sorry. I still think we're coming out of the East.
I hope so.
I still think we're coming out of the East.
I mean, this is the year to do it, in my opinion. So, all right. So let's move on to the play-in tournament because we had a couple of good games last night.
Yeah.
A couple of good games last night.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna start with Portland, the Portland game, and with Denny Avdia. I mean,
I gotta pause here for a second. I gotta give you both credit. Like you saw him coming before both of you saw him coming before anybody saw him coming. That's a talent.
We got
so
argument.
Credit where credit's due. I wasn't on that bus, but both of you saw him coming before he came.
I know for me watching him play, what I saw was a guy who was just extremely confident, right? Like he was a very confident player at a young age. And all I said to myself was, he had talent. You know, if he can make the adjustments to the speed of the NBA, I thought he could be a special player. And that's what we're seeing now. So Ty, I watched bits and pieces. I didn't see the whole game, but I feel like you were pretty much locked in. So talk about that game, his performance. Go ahead, man.
Well, I think I caught like the second half of that game, if I'm not mistaken. However, I was in my glory because I was typing back and forth. I'm like, look, I feel like a damn prophet here with Denny Avdia. That was my choice going into that draft. I was like, draft him, draft him, and draft him. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, damn. I'm like, the whole Good Times episode, damn. Why did we be talking? I mean, I'm about to break the vase like the mom. I'm like, smash. Looking at this dude, I'm like, this is exactly what I thought. But then even more surprising, even better than what I thought. Because I've always been a person that likes a competitor. And Avdia looked always like a competitor. Eric and I had the same thing when Luka came out. We had someone else on here at one point on our thread. It was like, oh, they went to the colorization. Like, they're not going to listen to him. Like, Luka's a bad dude. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You think because the brothers are in the locker room? Once he balls, it won't matter what color he is. And that's exactly what he showed. When you look at a guy like Avdia, and I think we were in a wing. We've always been in a wing position as far as in the league. You have a great wing. You have great talent in this league. That you can win a lot having a great wing. And Avdia, to me, just always fit the mold of the potential. Did I see him doing what I saw last night? And I've seen a couple other games because I'm probably a low-key Portland fan. Like I've always followed that franchise along with the Knicks, and man, then watch his growth. Obviously, clearly showing that Washington is a garbage franchise. There's another story in itself. But when looking at how he's playing, I didn't see him being this quick and the aggressive. I mean, what do you call it in wrestling? Ruthless aggression. That's what
he built out physically too the last couple of years.
He is a freaking dog. I mean, and last night he literally looked Phoenix in the eye and was like, I'm sending y'all packing. You can't stop it. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep going right. Because that's what he did. He was like, you can't do nothing about it. And he just had that swagger. I'm like, And I told Eric, I said, mind you, if he was the Knicks would be favored to win the whole damn thing if he was on the Knicks. Because that's how much I look at his talent and what he brings, and that, like, what we want from Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Granted, Denny Avdia is not the defender of OG Anunoby. He's not on that level.
But
it's the skill and the aggressiveness.
He was covering Jalen Green for most of that night and did a very serviceable job covering him. I caught the second half of that game, and I was impressed with what I saw from him defensively.
He was the team. Like literally, when we talk about superstars. We're talking about that. Granted, Denny Avia doesn't have the resume of a Jalen Brunson or Jokic and all that stuff, but you can see how his presence on that team just elevated all the other guys, because there are guys over there that's more athletic than him, obviously. In Shannon, you have a guy like Drew Holiday. Give him his flowers. Like, no, this dude balls out. I think they call him Turbo. That's his nickname on the team. That dude gained the respect of his locker room, and they're playing with him, and they're playing off of him. And I don't think no one would have seen, I think what he fell 9th or 10th to Washington. That's a steal. You can get to that late in the lottery, and you pick up a guy like that, who's basically your hub on offense and defense, and he's the complete engine of that team. I was just impressed, because I'm like, I didn't know he had that first step, because that first step is going to kill a lot of people. I'm looking forward to that Portland-San Antonio game, because as much as it is a foregone conclusion who Wembanyama is, and he's potentially might win MVP. You never know how the sympathy votes go nowadays. However, when looking at it, Portland is going to play some smash mouth basketball, and it's going to be unapologetic. I hope that San Antonio is ready for that, because if they're ever on their heels, I can see Portland going in and getting one of those games in San Antonio and be very confident about it moving forward. You don't want to get
Portland has Donovan Clingan also is a good big for them, and fits into what they do. So I definitely do think Portland could definitely make some noise. They can.
And Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp, very talented guards. If they could ever find their rhythm and come into their own. Scoot's obviously been injured a lot, but he was highly thought of coming out. Highly thought of coming out. Those guys start to find their rhythm. They've got some leadership in there now with Drew Holiday, who is a winner, a proven winner. I agree with you, man. I've low key been watching that team too. They're a team if a couple of things fall right, and then Stoudemire comes back, and you have really solid leadership and young talent at the bottom, and you have a superstar level talent. That team could get scary quick,
big time.
Yeah,
they have a star. I think Denny Avia just. I mean, I feel like the proud father, like, oh man, look at my son. But it was literally like that watching him. I'm like,
you don't speak English too good, but I love him.
We're still working on him. I don't know. Does he resemble me? I don't know. But let me tell you, when I'm looking at that, I was like, all right, this was a good. Yeah, I'm a fan. So it's like watching that kid turn into exactly what you think he possibly could. What is the NBA about? Maximizing your potential, and that's what you're seeing from him, maximizing and then having something to prove, and also playing with the right fire in the stomach. Gotta love
I was thinking during that game of both of you, and I'm like, they both wanted to draft this kid when nobody knew who he was. And again, had to give props.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
it. Like I said before, it was just how he played. Like, it was just kind of like he had a very American game in my eyes, and I'm like, you know what, this kid, if he can figure it out, like his body and
that's every player coming into
adjust to the speed. I had no question about his ability to be like a leader on the floor and become a great player. It was just a matter of that, and he's starting to figure it out. I mean, he was 14th, I think, in scoring in the league this year, top 15, and I mean, I think he was an all-star. Like, he was fantastic this year overall. And the funny thing is, his shooting was one of the things I liked coming out. He hasn't been a great three-point shooter. I think he shot like 32% this year, so it hasn't been a huge part of his game. So the Ty's point, like his ability to attack the basket and finish around the rim, like that's really where he's showing more than I thought he had.
Yeah.
He really has been a revelation this season. And yeah, I mean, whatever. There's plenty of players I wanted the Knicks to pick and they haven't. Looking back,
but he was really under the radar even for that draft. I think he went 6th or something like that in that draft.
9th.
Not a lot of people.
We passed.
The execs knew who he was, but a lot of people really weren't pushing for him as a player. Not prior to that draft, I think.
Because we drafted Obi, I think 9, and I think he fell past. I think Obi was 8 or 9.
Oh, so he went past Obi.
Oh yeah, the Knicks passed on him. I was so they passed on him and Halliburton. That's what it is too. Eric was
Yeah.
big on Halliburton, so Halliburton and Denny Avia.
Yeah.
And we got Obi. You know, I didn't understand the whole Obi thing because when you didn't give up Julius, it's like, why are you drafting that
Right.
dude? You know,
Right.
so funded, and I don't know. I've always had this thing against. I know it sounds bad for all you college greats. I always say when guys are great in college, they are just okay in the NBA.
They
So,
peaked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's, they peaked in college and become college player of the year. You know, you don't have too many Kareems or Tim Duncans that, you know, are great players in college and come to the NBA. But usually for the centers, it usually is. But like when the wing types,
Leitner's a good example of that.
yeah, and undersized, because it's like a guy like Corliss Williamson, you know, from the Razorback days.
Oh yeah.
And Big Nasty, great player, but was so undersized in the NBA, looks like an average guy in the NBA. So, you know, because the advantage, yeah, I don't know. I just, kudos to you, bro. I like that.
It's been more of a recent thing too, with that especially. Ever since the players guys being allowed to get picked earlier and not having to stay in school, obviously that's impacted the talent pool that stays in college. Like it's the thing. Like if you're staying in college, you're not good enough. That's like that's essentially what it is with the NBA draft. If you're staying, you're not good enough, right? So so that game was fantastic. The other game was wild, man. The Hornets game. Now you have the NBA investigating that LaMelo Ball's attacked Bam Adebayo. That's why he couldn't come back in.
Attacked? They're calling it an attack?
Well, they're investigating it. So what else would you call it? If it was just a foul, what else would it be? I don't know. What else would you call it? So that happened. Then LaMelo turned as a turnover to like lose the lead, and he hit the game where it was a crazy ending to that game. A very entertaining basketball game. It would have been. I don't know about you guys because I really liked watching Charlotte, and even though they scare me, I've liked watching them this year develop and become this team that they've become. Would you guys have been upset had they got eliminated?
Had Charlotte got eliminated? I was expecting Charlotte to get eliminated because I thought Miami was the better team.
Okay.
Honestly, I thought that they were going to get eliminated yesterday. Speaking of Miami, Khalil Ware.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
Miami drafts well in the second half of the draft. They draft better in the second half of the draft than anybody. They keep finding talent, even though they're winning basketball games. Khalil Ware looks like a beast. No, but I really think that I did not expect them to win. Although, if you look at Concanoople, he really didn't he wasn't really a big factor in that game, and he's become a very important member of that team. I didn't expect them to win that game. Honestly, I thought Miami was going to roll out of the play-in tournament. Personally, I thought they were the best talent in the East in the play-in tournament.
Well, all I'll say is another guy who I wanted to draft, even though his off-the-court stuff leaves a lot to be desired, but Miles Bridges had a fantastic game yesterday, and I wanted to take him over Kevin Knox. I remember.
Yes, you did. I remember that.
That's another story.
How about that block at that end of the game?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I won't talk about
crazy.
We won't talk about his domestic violence issues. I mean, we should. He shouldn't be in the league. If you're being honest, he really shouldn't be in the league.
What he did was awful.
Yes.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that team, they're another team like Portland. Charlotte is, to me, a team like Portland. All these up and coming, like Atlanta, young talent, lots of young talent. We saw what they did to us a few weeks ago when they were whole and we were whole, and they really destroyed the Knicks. Obviously, Knuckle hit a ton of threes, and that he was just really on that game. But that team is going to be, if LaMelo stays healthy, which is always a question because he is definitely the engine for that team. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the future too. So when I said before, like this is the year the Knicks really need to make that run, I meant it because the rest of the league is the rest of the East is just getting better, and until the Knicks really make an effort to, like I said, they definitely played Kolek more this year. They played their young guys more this year. They got them some experience. Diawara looks like he could be a find and a guy that could definitely one day be a starter for the Knicks. The Knicks are verging on an older team now. Like their star players are not Brunson so much, but Towns is 30, and Josh Hart's 30, and I think OG's approaching 30. So like these guys are getting up there. But just real quick on the score for right now in the NBA playing game right now, it was 14-14 between Orlando and Philadelphia, in case anyone was wondering. So you can check that out. If you're watching the game,
Is this an elimination game if Orlando loses? I know the tournament's always weird, like the play-in, because
it's the 9-10 game is the 9-10 game is the elimination game, and the 9-10 game happened last night.
All right, so this is okay. So this is
Miami and Charlotte with a 9-10 game. Okay. Like Charlotte has to win against the loser of this game,
right,
to make the playoffs.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Can I ask you guys something? How are you guys feeling about the play-in tournament? Because I thought last night was one of the better, more exciting nights of basketball that I've seen in a while. Like I know that a lot of people were on the fence about the play-in tournament and everything like that, but I'm kind of feeling like it doesn't suck. At least not from what I was watching last night.
I agree.
Yeah, one and dones are always better. Like it is, right?
The collegiate thing. I was like the NCAA tournament for that factor that you
single game elimination.
Yeah, and I think I love that facet of the game. That you got to win in order to, it's do or die. Who does? It's a game 7. It's an automatic game 7 in a lot of ways. I thought that was the one thing I think Silver got right was this play-in tournament. And the other second amount of great basketball I saw was, funny enough, was the Cup. I didn't think it. I mean, because the New York Knicks was in it, but the perfect opponent was the Knicks and the Spurs. They played an epic game.
Mm-hmm.
That meant something, maybe not to the rest of us, like we won a title, but it still meant something as far as the competitiveness. You saw that come out in that game. So there's a couple things that are good, but you got to have guys wanting to win. And Wembanyama, at the end of the day, he is one of those dudes. He wants to rip your heart out. He's very arrogant. And like he thinks he's the thing. It's like vote for me MVP and for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, it's cocky as hell, but you kind of like that. There's a young guy coming in the league who is not trying to make friends, so it's good.
Yeah, it really was. Anytime it's a single elimination, it just heightens the stakes, right? And every possession is more important, and every shot is more important, every free throw is more important. Everything just gets raised. The bar gets raised. So obviously the league will never go to that kind of a format for the entire playoff because they need to make money and drag it out and torture us.
You know what the biggest mistake I think they did in the playoff format was when they went 7 games for all the rounds.
I agree. I like the 3 out of 5.
The closest thing was the best out of 5 to the elimination situation because you lose one of those, you're asked out. So that to me they screwed the pooch because I know it's for economic reasons why they decided to extend it, for television rights and all that stuff. But man, those 5-game series back in the day, I don't think people understand the tightness of the cheeks when you have to watch that, and that was one of your teams facing against a rivalry of sorts. Because imagine best of 5 Detroit and New York right now. Like just picture that. That's a war going on. That's not like nobody's giving an inch. But when you got 7 games, you can. Well, unfortunately, some guys or teams they kick a game away.
Yeah, like if you win the first one at home, sometimes the second one you're not as motivated.
Mm-hmm.
So that does happen. But all right, so we're at the end of the show, but it is now prediction time. Prediction time, folks. All right, so Joe, what's your prediction for round 1?
Knicks in 6.
Okay, Ty.
I'm going to go one less. I'm going to say Knicks in 5.
Okay. I'm going to go one less. I'm calling for a sweep. I'm saying the Knicks are going to win this one in 4. like I said, I just don't feel like the Hawks are ready yet. So, um, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just bullish on this matchup. Like I said, the Raptors, I would have said the same thing, and I could see the Hawks getting a game. To your point, Ty, I could see them getting one. But I think for a number of reasons, the Knicks are going to come out extremely motivated to get this one over with really quick, and I think they're going to sweep. So, all right. Well, let's put a ball in this one. I will not be here next week. I'm on my way to Paris. I leave next Tuesday night. So next Wednesday will actually be my first day, full day.
You're gonna have a great time, bro. Paris is great.
Thank you. So I will be gone for probably most of the first round.
So you predict sweep and now you leave. You face no
heat. I'll be accountable until I get back.
They ask me, always like, I'm in Paris. It don't matter.
Yes. But you guys definitely do a show. To discuss the playoffs. Definitely do a show in my absence. Give the people what they want. But yes, I hope everyone enjoys the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, Knicks fans, we want to get this win. So let's hopefully, when I do come back, we'll be talking about round 2 of the playoffs and who we're facing in that round. But again, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for all the support. We would not keep coming back if you guys didn't watch. So thank you for keeping coming back. And for Ty and Joe, I'm Eric. You're watching All Knicked Up. See you next time.